Good evening. Welcome to our monthly council meeting, September 9th. I appreciate all of you being here tonight. Would you please stand for the invocation? And Mr. Bishop Toro.
Let us pray. Almighty and ever-living God, we give you thanks and praise for all of your mighty works. You are loving and good and gracious, and thank you for creating us and sustaining us day by day. Thank you for making us in your image to exist in community with other people. We thank you for our city. Thank you for our elected officials, the businesses, the churches, the families, and the individuals that make our city the great place that it is. But Lord, we acknowledge that we do not deserve these good gifts. We're not worthy of your favor, for we have sinned against you in thought, word, and deed. We do things that we should not do, and we don't do the things that we should do. We have not loved you with our whole heart. We have not loved our neighbors as ourselves. And so we appeal to the Lamb of God, Jesus Christ, who died for our sins. Forgive us and give us hearts of obedience to your holy scriptures. And thank you that Jesus rose from the dead and now reigns as King over heaven and earth, and grant that our city would be known as a righteous city, a city that confesses Jesus as a Lord, a city of peace and hope, a city with happy homes, a city that welcomes the stranger, and a city that cares for the needy, and a city that defends the innocent from evildoers. I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give the council members wisdom and guidance as they deliberate on the items before them, and may every decision be righteous in your sight for our benefit and for your glory. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Speedy, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Ms. Silva, would you please call roll call?
Mayor Nina Rodenroth.
Here.
That's loud. Vice Mayor Christine Thompson.
Here.
Councilman Tony Brown is absent. Councilman Elston Speedy Cussler.
Here.
Councilman Dan Lewandowski.
Here.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Do we have any public comments?
We do have several public comments. I'm going to start with who is on top, and that would be Mr. John Evans.
Mr. Evans, would you please come forward? So with public comments, we allow 3 minutes, please. So if you would please, in due time, so we can make sure our meeting, we get through our things.
I didn't know I was
Yes,
going to
sir.
speak, but I'm a new resident in Keystone Heights since 21. Live on Southeast First, up on the golf course side. And the reason for coming to the meeting was just to kind of see what they're like, and kind of concerned about possibly keeping that as either a golf course or a green space, something that the city could use and enjoy for the neighborhood, kids, things, walking dogs and things of that nature. And that's about all I have to say.
Yes, welcome to our city, and certainly thank you so much for your input.
Okay.
Stay tuned on that, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we would ask Mr. Robert Black to come forward.
So I live on the same street and have
Hi,
the
Mr.
same
Black.
concern. Hi,
Nice
yeah.
to meet you.
And I'm probably the one responsible for a lot of the people here tonight, and both grateful and apologize for any misunderstandings, because It may have looked like we had it as an item on the agenda today, but it certainly, I hoped if we got enough people here, it could be an item in the future that we could talk more about and make the best decisions for now and in the future, and hopefully, work together with either the city or council, the city or the county to maybe turn it into something significant if needs be. So anyways, thank you.
Thank you for being here.
I was just going to ask a question, if I might. Many of the properties surrounding the golf course are not actually in the city limits. Do you
Right.
know if citizens would be willing to have their property become part of the city if we were to acquire the golf course or be co-owners or something like that?
I know that my wife and I have said we'd be willing to, but I know that one, probably the tax increase potential would probably dissuade quite a few folks against that, is my feeling. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
thank you.
Yes, thank you. This is Amy Black.
There she is.
That's me.
Hi, Amy. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. I just wanted to express my opinion also that we really enjoy that area, and we know that there are quite a few people. I think, yep, you're the one that I've been talking to. You've seen the Facebook posts and all the comments and everything on there. I think there's probably 9 out of 10 of all the many comments that have been in support of keeping that space as an open space, whether as a golf course or as a park or other type of green space. And I don't know. My husband said the same thing. We don't know who would be willing to become part of the city for that. I don't think that most of the people that commented were on our street. We know a lot of the people on our street. So just wanted to put that on the agenda for future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we have Miss Wileen Godwin. Or is it Goodwin? I apologize. Is it Godwin? Yeah, Godwin. Okay. Miss Wileen Godwin.
Okay, as you said, my name's Wileen Godwin, and I live on the golf course. And if I understood his question, yes, I would be willing to, for it to be rezoned. I would agree with that. But I'm here because of the golf course, because I live on the golf course, and my 3 grandsons play golf on the golf course. My husband played golf on the golf course before he passed away, and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren play golf on that golf course. So I would like for it to remain a golf course, not only because of all my family that plays golf, but also to have the green, not a bunch more houses piled up on top of each other. Thank you very much for hearing me out.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thanks for being here. And what I had done is I interacted with Ms. Black due to the post and a lot of the comments, and provided the video where we did have a meeting. It was a workshop. A workshop is where we have open discussion. We don't have any voting. Excuse my throat tonight. And the golf course conversation came up. Really, we haven't gotten too deep into anything. We were approached by the owner, and all we're doing at this point is exploring the idea. There's a lot of work to be done yet, and it's probably going to move into next year before we can kind of look at the idea and whether or not it's a good idea. We would love to, I love the idea personally, because a lot is because the historical part of it especially. That's what Mr. Lawrence came to our city with, the idea of, the tourism idea and the vacation destination. So certainly we will take a very honest look at it, but we will share this information with you all publicly. And we will make sure, once we are ready to provide some additional information, pros and cons, we'll make it a public event. So you all can all be there to hear what we have found, okay? And that includes council has to hear it too. They don't know, we don't know yet. So we do want to be able to do that at some point down the road. And the video I provided was some conversation about it. And I would encourage you to watch that video. It was from the July 16th meeting, about 1 hour into the meeting, because it's a lot of stuff.
Is it possible for me to say one thing? That original post I posted was automatically deleted because I added that
Oh,
link.
oh, it did?
So I'm not sure how to get it out there.
Oh, okay.
But one of
yeah.
the things that we're concerned about is that we're understanding that they're already doing soil testing because they're commercial developers that are interested in building homes. And so we're concerned that if we wait another year, I mean, I understand that that's a huge thing that needs to be considered, but it may not be a possibility in another year to acquire
Well,
that.
That's something our city manager could probably respond to that I cannot. We can't control that. That's
Right.
the owner's, situation.
Exactly,
We just know what
yeah.
we can do from our situation.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Do we have a city lead person in charge of looking into all the possibilities? Are you the lead person?
Apparently, I'm your liaison for golf courses, airports, all the fun stuff. So here is what I know to be factual and true on today at this time. So the owner of the golf course came in back in June, the same day he put the for sale sign on the main sign as you turn off 21 and go up in there, just to let me know. He says, hey, it says Keystone Golf and Country Club. I'm needing to sell it, and I just wanted you to know in case people walk through City Hall and ask questions that that's going on. So a couple weeks after that, I invited him in. I invited the mayor just to have a conversation, and as I was talking to each of the other council men and women, I let them know that the golf course owner would like to sell the golf course, and you can fill almost a half a thimble with what I know about golf courses and management. And so I'm not going to make a recommendation based on my conclusions. Last Saturday, a week ago, I get a phone call from a gentleman who's a landscape architect who has restored some other Donald Ross golf courses, to include the one in the city of Palatka. And I've talked to the city manager in Palatka, and I've talked to the golf course manager in Palatka. And they have a setup where the city doesn't lose any money, doesn't make any money, they just hold the deed. And this management company runs the golf course, and they get to keep whatever they make, and they get to repair all the other things that go wrong. So the landscape architect that I spoke with is doing his own due diligence and talking to his investors. He's done landscape architecture and golf course architecture specifically for about 40 years. And if he comes to me and says, hey, I think we can make a go of this, what I would likely do is then come back to the council and suggest we have a workshop and let him discuss his findings. So that's everything I know about the golf course, and that's where we are.
Well, maybe before we get to that point, we should probably speak one-on-one. There's some legal barriers that may present a problem for the city.
And there are also other remedies. I mean, there is what's called a public-private partnership, where we could partner a city sharing some of the cost, and then some other entity that is private people pooling their money as a possibility. There is the county-city option, where we could team up perhaps with the county to do this. So there's other options besides that. And so I'm just trying to figure out how we can get some of that rolling to look into, because if we don't do it, I don't know who will. Oh, are you busy?
So the public-private partnership was discussed with this landscape architect. I have not reached out to our county manager, and based off of our attorney's tone, I might be ought to take an opportunity to be quiet until I know some more.
I say one more thing?
Sure, Mr. Black, sure.
Yeah, just, I also spoke with the golf coach for Keystone Heights, and he was telling me that right now they have no way to have anything at home. They have to go out. They're using the mini putt course over at the RV Resort for their practice putting. And, you know, I mean, it's not a huge thing, but it just seems a shame not to have a course in Keystone, period, especially for our youth and who are anxiously engaged in that, besides everybody else. So just another thought.
Yeah.
And I have to agree with Ms. Black. If we wait too long, we'll miss the boat on this. We need to move.
So we've communicated that to Mr. Brad. He knows our situation, and he understands it, the owner.
Do we know how much money he's asking for the property?
$1 million was the figure he discussed with the mayor and I. I mean, we would need to get, obviously, an appraisal by somebody that can appraise golf courses, similar to what we did at the airport. That's a unique piece of real estate. You know, so,
Do we know how much he bought it for?
not off the top of my head, I didn't ask him that.
Anyone in the audience know how much he bought it for?
280,000 is what I've heard.
We've heard 280,000. He bought it for 280,000. Now he wants $1 million.
It's not even half of what it used to be, because the first time it went up for sale, Mr. Billy Jackson bought the back 9, so now it's only 9 holes instead of 18.
Right.
So, you know, all I can say is, this is where we are right now, and as you can imagine, we have quite a bit of work in front of us. And as Mr. Commando said, there's some things that we probably need to talk with him too, as well, before we get too deep into things. But we do have a couple things that we are looking into. And as soon as we do have more information, we will share it with you all, especially the folks who live in that area, for sure. And I do believe, I mean, the council does have definitely a vested interest in it, for sure. I know I do personally. And we'll do all we can to do what's the right thing. But that's all we can tell you right now. Okay, I appreciate all of you guys coming here tonight, though. Thank you very much. The next thing I have on the agenda is a proclamation. Ms. Tamara Sessick, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You want us to join you?
Sure, that'd be great.
Don't mind me as I'm not taking photos of you.
Really tall speaker. So this is a proclamation on the city of Keystone Heights, Florida, for the Florida Missing Children's Day. Whereas on September 9th, 2024, aligns with Florida Statute 683.23, designating the second Monday of September as Florida Missing Children's Day. And this day is dedicated to raising awareness about missing children in Florida, particularly those missing due to family abduction, while non-family abductions remain rare, comprising only 1% of missing children cases reported to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the NCMEC. And whereas family abductions impact numerous families across the nation, causing significant emotional and psychological trauma to both the child and the left behind family. And September provides a crucial opportunity to support national efforts to reduce family abductions, reunite missing children with their families, and honor those committed to this cause. And whereas a family abduction occurs when a child is taken, wrongfully retained, or concealed by a parent or other family member, denying another individual their right to custody or visitation, even the cases with unclear or absent court orders. And such abductions are often driven by the perpetrator's frustration with the left behind parent, the legal system, or their personal circumstances. And whereas Keystone Heights is committed to remaining vigilant and informed about the dangers facing children in our community, recognizing that the family abduction is a serious crime in all states, not merely a civil matter, and law enforcement officers should treat these incidents as severe forms of child abuse rather than minor offenses. And whereas it is essential for law enforcement agencies to have written plans outlining actions and procedures for promptly addressing family abduction cases, and courts have determined that law enforcement must ensure children are with their lawful custodians and verify the validity of any court orders, as failure to establish these necessary training and policies pose a threat to public safety. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, in collaboration with the National Parents Organization and its affiliated organizations, that September 9th, 2024 shall be recognized as Florida's Missing Children's Day in Keystone Heights, and be it further proclaimed that the Clay County Sheriff's Office is encouraged to conduct community outreach initiatives to educate residents about the prevalence, risks, and consequence of family abduction, and to provide guidance on warning signs, preventive measures, and available resources to address this critical issue effectively. Duly adopted and proclaimed on this 9th day of September 2024 by the City of Keystone Heights. Here you go.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
If I may, I just want to say thank you very much. In the United States, there's an estimated 22 million parents who are the victims of parental alienation, custodial interference, and parental and family abduction. I am one of those parents. I haven't seen my child for 1,722 days now against court orders. And again, it is not merely a civil matter. However, that is what a lot of police officers believe. So I do appreciate this. I'm an affiliate of the National Parents Organization. We are trying to get a bill passed, including family abduction and custodial interference, and the definition for child abuse, and hoping to clarify some of those gray areas and bring more awareness and training to individuals who can help. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for your commitment to the effort.
Yes, ma'am.
Come up here and we'll get a picture real quick.
That's a picture of me. All right, thank you.
Okay. All right, next is our consent agenda. We have the minutes from the August 8th City Council emergency meeting, the minutes from the City Council meeting on August 8th. Also, we have 3 pavilion requests, one from Rodriguez, one from Touchstone, and one from the Lake Region Kiwanis. Has council had a chance to review these details?
Yes, and I'll make the
I move that
motion.
we
Oh.
accept the minutes and the consent agenda as written.
Okay, I only had one question, and on the one with Ms. Touchton, it was on the quote for the pricing. I saw 2 different quotes on the form. It showed, because with a citizen, they have a different rate, and it showed that box checked, and then it showed a regular, for what the regular rate was on there, the bottom. I just want to make sure, like, the correct one was checked. Instead of 2, it should be just 1. Did y'all see that?
I didn't notice.
I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you all for being here, sir. Thank you.
I did read them though.
It was a huge difference in money.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, there was a half
Yep.
day beforehand for
You see-
setup, and then the full day for the event afterward. That's why
Yep.
there was 2 checks.
No,
Yes, ma'am, she's got City of Keystone Heights residents checked, she's on Magnolia Avenue.
I know, but you see at the bottom where it says, it's got another, showing like 2
Right,
times
she-
$150 or something.
All right, let me,
You see what I mean?
Let me work on that.
Okay. Because if I didn't want her to be double charged, that's what I'm trying to say.
Correct, and I don't either. I think she wanted to be in there on 2 different days,
Yeah,
like all day.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna defer to my vacationing events coordinator, but we won't overcharge her.
okay, I just want to get clarification on, that's all. Okay, great. Okay, so I think we had a motion, right?
Yes, and I second that.
Okay, can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Great. Next, we have action items. Planning and zoning, second reading for the Resta property. And this is ordinance 2024-607, land use change.
I move that we read by title only, ordinance 2024-607.
I second that. I second that.
All in favor, or any comments?
I don't have any comments, do you?
Well, I'll read it. It's ordinance 2024-607, an ordinance of the City of Keystone Heights of Clay County, Florida, making a small-scale amendment to the City of Keystone Heights comprehensive plan by reclassifying approximately 1.054 acres of real property owned by George L. Restea from residential single-family to general commercial on the future land use map, providing findings by the City of Keystone Heights, City Council, providing direction for recording, and providing an effective date. And then we have to open a public hearing.
Do we have any public comments? No? Okay. We don't have any comments.
If there's any discussion by the council, and
Any more
then
discussion?
I don't
Comments?
have anything to say.
a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
I move that we approve ordinance 2024-607 as written.
I second that.
Can I get a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, rezoning. Ordinance 2024-606.
I move that we read by title only, ordinance 2024-606.
I second that.
Ordinance 2024-606, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Keystone Heights, Florida, amending the city zoning map by amending approximately 1.054 acres of real property owned by George L. Restea from residential single family to general commercial, providing findings by the City Council, providing direction for recording, and providing an effective date.
Can I get any public comments? No public comments. Can I get a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 2024-0606 as written.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Item B, Florida Retirement System, the FRS, adoption, the second reading. That is ordinance 2024-608.
So we asked for the city manager to look into some stuff. Do we want to talk about that before reading or after we've moved to read by title? What do we talk about?
This is the second reading of it, so I was trying to remember.
Now, let's talk about it now. Okay.
Okay. So, I brought a binder tabbed out.
Thank you all for coming tonight. Appreciate it.
And the question I remember you asking was, because I whittled it down to one question before you left, was about our Public Works Director. And so we went back to the FRS onboarding staff or whatever they call themselves. And since he is in a retirement system and already vested, and since he has consistently told me all year long that he plans to retire next July, he will not have time to vest in the Florida retirement system. So he will not enter that. Everybody else that's a current city employee will enter that. We had one other gentleman that is vested in the Mission Square system, but he had 26 plus years in the Florida retirement system. And so this month, I've counseled each of the public works guys and each of the other employees individually. So this will be the last month he participates in the Mission Square, and then his desire is to go back into the FRS. And I may have missed something. If there's another question, I've got my notebook in front of me. I'll try to answer it.
That's what we had to figure out. I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Any public comments?
I'll move that we read by title only, ordinance 2024-608.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
To read it.
So the motion's only to read by title, we have to approve it again. So ordinance 2024-608, an ordinance relating to membership in the Florida retirement system. Now that's read, now you can make a motion.
So I move that we approve ordinance 2024-608 as written.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next, we have the Airport Authority's 2024-2025 proposed budget. Is
Both Mr. Kuhn and Mr. Kirkland are here.
So obviously the city council appoints those airport authority members. The airport manager, by their bylaws, prepares the budget, submits it to the council to vote on. So that's where it's at. And if you make a motion in a second and have discussion and questions for them, then they're here to react to that.
I'll move that we approve the Airport Authority 2024-2025 proposed budget.
I'll second that.
any comment?
Mr. Kirkland, Mr. Coons, do you have anything you'd like to add for us?
We just wanted to make sure we met the deadline to get it to the city council, so it would be included in your budget when you submit to the state.
And you're happy with it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Kirkland's been doing this for years.
Yeah, no.
I looked at it, it looks great.
Good.
As always, wonderful work, Mr. Kirkland, thank you. Mr. Coons, appreciate you too.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, next, we have the Airport Authority Board Seat Number 2 position open. We have a gentleman, General James Eifert, has applied for that position. And, yes, it's coming up. Oh, did I pass it? No, I'm sorry, I passed it. It's next, I'm sorry. It'll come next. I said, how did I pass it? I guess I had to check.
Madam Mayor, I apologize. I was informed before the meeting that Ms. Murphy is not going to be in attendance tonight, so I will try to schedule her for the next meeting to speak on that item.
Okay,
Oh, perfect.
okay. All right, so General Eifert submitted his application, and I read through it. Did you all read through?
Yeah, I'd like to move that we appoint General Eifert for seat 2 at the Airport Authority Board.
I'll second the motion.
Any comments?
He's applied before, and we haven't selected him, and he's an excellent choice. I think you'd be okay with him on the board? Yes, they would. They're shaking their heads yes, so I think this is win-win.
He's the only one, so.
Well, but if he's not a good candidate, we should, open it up, but he's a great guy.
No, he's an excellent candidate.
It's outstanding.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay. Next. In looking at, when we think about our awards, proclamations, letters of honor, keys to the city, we do know these are very special awards and they should be treated as such. And especially our recipients are very special folks to receive such honor. And it came to my attention that we really don't have any protocols in place for such awards. And what I did was I looked at some other cities and what they use, and I actually grabbed the ones that are used by the city of Green Cove. And what I've done is taken theirs and adapted it for us. And I've given these to you all tonight to look at for your input. And it just basically tells you the difference of the 3 awards. And that description, so that's on the guidelines document. And then I created a form or an application for any of us to submit when we want to request for someone to be considered for the award. And it's usually like about 30 days or something notice before we would present that award. And of course, letting that individual know ahead of time. But, some consideration to go into the verbiage of it and all that. But it's a concise way to do it. It's a good way for tracking. Just so folks know too, usually you don't give the proclamation and a key to the city at the same time. They're 2 totally different types of award. So it's something to be considered when you think about who you want to present this to. So anyway, I created those documents for us to look at and for us to decide to implement them into our protocols. And if y'all have any changes you want to make to them, that's certainly fine. I'm open to that. I just thought this would be better than nothing, which we don't have anything right now. But moving forward, I think we should use a form, an application form.
Madam Mayor, I apologize. Are you going to develop the form? If so, I can get that to the gentleman who is doing our new website
It's
so
already
that form
developed.
can go.
I emailed it to you
beautiful.
today.
Thank you. I'm not checking the email today.
I saved you that hassle to have to go through. You can proof it and be sure it meets criteria, but
I'll get that on our new website, so it's live.
The only comment, I think, thank you for doing this for
Sure.
It's wonderful. The only comment I might make is that I would like actual citizens of the city. Get
sure, like
some
certain
kind of-
verbiage.
a
Oh.
special consideration, or, they're treated a little bit different because they actually pay the taxes here.
So what do you mean by that? So it can be, most of the time it is citizens of the city that gets proclamations, many times.
It is, you're right. But I mean, what if someone from outside the city wants us to do a proclamation?
That's, well, it does happen.
It does,
Yeah.
maybe it's appropriate for the city to do that, but maybe it's not.
Yeah.
And so I just like some kind of consideration given for people who are tax-paying citizens of the city.
Well, who will make the decision on who gets the proclamation? Will it be us or? It's us. It comes to me with the application.
In the past, it's been the
And
mayor.
then we can vote on it, is how it
Yeah.
works.
Okay. Just an idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of times it is citizens that get the
Oh, I would
proclamation.
assume that, but I just would like something said.
Oh, you mean the verbiage of it, to say?
Yeah, somewhere in this documentation that says we
Oh.
recognize that citizens are the main people who will be doing this activity.
Oh, okay. I think they just kind of leave it open to,
Okay. So we could go to Green Cove and ask for our city, the key of the city there, if we think we deserve it?
For a proclamation, that does happen.
That's what I mean.
I mean, it's very common when you have like the Sexual Awareness Assault Day, or when you have the Missing Children's Day.
Just take
Usually
like
those
this
are
today.
people from outside that come and
Yeah.
ask you for those proclamations.
Yeah.
And oftentimes because they're recognizing state or federal other type day that's been recognized.
Right. I have no problem with that, but given a key to the city, unless they really do something for Keystone Heights.
I think that still is decided by you, so I would
It's a
envision
dialogue.
that's a dialogue you'll have.
I take back my comment.
I think it says in here too, how it's decided, so.
But if there's comments from council on the criteria, it would be good to have that discussion in the next meeting or so before you start implementing it.
Yeah. It's a good start, I think, because we don't have anything.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Sure. Okay. The next thing that I want to do is I'm going to introduce what I call a Mayor's Youth Council. And The mission of the Mayor's Youth Council is to amplify the voices of Keystone Heights youth, to foster civic engagement, and create meaningful opportunities for young people to influence city policies and initiatives. The council is going to aim to bridge the gap between the city government and youth, ensuring that young residents have a direct impact on decisions that affect their lives. Arabelle Corrent is a senior at Keystone Heights High School, who will be my liaison to the Mayor's Council. We will seek others to join her from her class. Additionally, I will reach out to Principal Turbeville to identify any students she feels would like to join our council from the elementary school. Florida League of Mayors, I initiated a contest last year. It's called If I Was a Mayor. And this is a statewide contest, over 411 municipalities in Florida. And several hundred kids from, I believe it's 6th, 7th, and 8th grade applied for this contest. And out of Keystone Heights, for the first time, we had 13 submissions, which I was very proud of. Next year, I'm hoping that we have at least doubled that number, because I will be reaching out to the principals to initiate the contest again. But they basically submit an essay on so many words on why they would like to be mayor. Actually, from the high school, we had 1. From the elementary, we had 3, and McRae Elementary submitted 9, which I was pretty impressed. But I really feel it's a good idea, and I do want to see the kids get involved. We did the thing with the field trip with the 4th graders, and they came here and they watched us do what we would do in a routine meeting, and they were so excited about the whole process. And I want to get them engaged not only in what we do in here, but what Charlie and team does inside the office side of things. Get them involved in some of the volunteer things that we do for the city. Kids, and what happened is Arabelle, she was here doing volunteer work on voting day a few weeks ago with her mom. And she approached me and said she was really interested in civic education and political science, and she's on that route to graduate with her AA degree this year as a senior from high school. So she asked me, how could she get more involved? And I said, this has been on my list of something I wanted to initiate, and I'm really glad you asked me. So her and I will be working together, and I'll hope to bring her to our next meeting so y'all can meet her. But anyway, that was one of the things that was on my list that I wanted to make you guys aware of.
And Mayor, you may want to look back. We actually had a youth council about 3 years ago.
Mayor Lake did, I think.
She did. Some of the criteria has already been framed out. I think it would probably help on whoever gets asked to make sure that they understand what the time commitment was, because I think it was difficult for them to make some of the meetings that they had scheduled, along with the other extracurricular activities that they were involved in.
Yeah, I told her we try to work with her schedule, and whatever will work out for them, try to be as flexible as possible. Just trying to get some engagement there, I think would be a good thing.
Madam Mayor, could I just get a little clarification on item F? You just went over 1, 2, and 3. Does any of that need to come back to the council for? No, you're perfect. I'm just asking, do I need to bring this back on any future agenda to adopt any of this, or is this just by consensus, everybody's good with it? Or does it need to be discussed again? The key to the city form, the proclamations form, and the teen council set up.
Unless you guys want to make some changes, it's up to you.
It sounds right like it is,
And we can make changes as we go along, see how it goes? Okay.
All right.
Okay, and you're right, I need to come back to the item F, Public Works lift truck. Mr. Wright?
No, you're on that old agenda again.
No, that's an old agenda.
What did I do? I grabbed the wrong thing again. Sorry. I gotta tear that page up. Darn. No, I'm good. I'm good. You can take this back. I'm good. Damn it. Sorry about that, y'all.
No, you're fine. We're just trying to pre-plan it.
Next. Save the Lakes.
Thank you for having us once again. I did print some hard copies. Bo has loaded some graphics for me to throw up on the screen. Chandler Rozier, our Vice President.
Wow.
Took the time to plot this, and so the document that I've handed out And can you go to the paper copy, Bo, that shows the dock elevations? That one. Is there any way you can turn that the other direction? Perfect. Yep. So if you look at that document, first thing I want to point out to you guys, and I came prepared, so up in that upper right-hand corner, it doesn't show up on the screen, but in that upper right-hand corner, it says Keystone Heights, and you'll look at the tallest dock on the property is your pavilion. So that's at 109.2 to the finished floor. So even going back to Heritage Commission photos, the water has never exceeded the floor elevation in your pavilion, and we don't expect it to do that. The colored lines that you see on the map are key lines in the fact that the green line is the new expected low from the pipeline. The red line is the new mean, meaning that's where we should expect the water to be most of the time. And the brown line is the new high. The yellow line is a line I drew that shows when Lake Geneva outflows under 214 to Oakfield Pond. And so that gives you an idea of the water levels that will occur as a result of the recharge pipeline. If you look at the docks, there's a bottom number and a top number. The top number is what the docks are at for elevation right now, and the bottom number is the ground level for those docks. And so if you look at the lower end of the docks plotted on that map, all of those docks are going to be submerged for anything that's under the green line, even at low water. What we need to suggest to the property owners on Geneva and your residents within the city along that side, if they have any of those docks, they need to start taking action now to move those obstructions. And in doing that, go to the slide that's closest view of the bottom of your fence at the spillway, Bo. Go back one more. Nope. That one. So if you look at where all the flags are in a line on that, that is where the floating dock starts and would currently extend into the water 50 feet. To put that in perspective, that's about 10 feet past that last post that is submerged. And so if you guys I went and flagged this last week, walk across the bridge, go take a look at the flags. It gives you an idea of what we're proposing for a fixed dock, a gangway down to the, but my suggestion is just like the landowners that have docks in the water, you guys have fence in the water. I suggest you start pulling those fence posts now, because when we go back up a couple slides, the top view, Bo. That one, nope, back up one more. That one. So if you look, it's a little difficult to see. Can you zoom in on those at all, or? It's okay.
I zoomed.
If I recall, the fixed.
I'm glad I have you as the technical guy, because I'm horrible at this.
The fixed portion is 100 feet, and then the floating portion is 50 feet?
That fixed portion is approximately 140 feet is what we ended up, yeah, that is correct. And then the gangway is another 40 feet, and then the floating dock is 50 feet. Okay. So you basically have, what is that, 230 feet from start to end of dock that's going to go in that location once we get it all approved and built. So this is kind of an overview of what the dock is going to look like, and there is a heritage oak right when you cross that bridge, and there's a massive amount of roots right to the left-hand side. The general contractor and marine contractor that I met with don't want to mess with that tree. So I talked to Charlie and Bo. They were down at the lake while we were plotting this out, and our goal is to get the city to get the concrete ADA path to the bridge, and now on the other side of the bridge create concrete around the top side of that oak tree to where we don't have to mess with its root system. And our fixed pier will now go from that area at 45 degrees. This I'll just kind of, yep, that line right there is where the dock turns 45 degrees to parallel the spillway down to the end. So it's 20 feet coming into that. We turn 45 degrees and we go another 120 feet about down to where that garbage can is. And so that would be the end of the fixed pier. And if you look along the fence on the left-hand side, you can see the 3 stakes that we staked out a few weeks back with the Water Management District. The lower stake's your low water, the middle stake is your mean water, the upper stake is the high water. So that gives you an idea how far the water comes under the stationary pier. And your floating dock, when we're in that mean range, is going to be in about 11 or 12 feet of water. So based on talking with the contractor and the installation company, we believe at that garbage can, the elevation of the fixed pier is going to be at 105 feet. So it will be about head high when you're standing at that garbage can, to put that in perspective. Our goal is to rail that entire dock structure, similar to the railing that's on the pavilion, so we have uniformity. I did change the 45-degree section coming into that to 6 feet wide instead of 5, so we didn't pinch in that corner where we turned 45 degrees. Again, Charlie, please put on your agenda to get that fence removed as this lake continues to come up. If we continue to see our inundation of rain that we've been getting above normal, Brooklyn continues to rise. You can look on your agenda. Stephanie was kind enough to include the lake levels that we report in our newsletter for Save Our Lakes. And so currently Brooklyn, as of the 26th, was at 109.9. It starts outflowing at 113.4. So that's when water will go to Little Lake Keystone. So we're not too far away.
But the pipeline is fully.
The pipeline is not functioning yet, so that it is not. So
I know, but it's
yeah,
laid,
yeah.
the pipe is laid, it's all.
It's not. So they have about 2 miles of pipe, maybe not quite 2 miles, 1.5 miles of pipe. They're almost to 352 Jiffy, the Circle K right there at 352. And so they have to continue down 21 till they get to Treat Road, and then they have to turn the corner at Treat Road and go to the treatment area.
And the water. Last meeting, it was reported that there was only 5 miles left.
Yeah, and we're down to less than 2, so, yeah.
The Water Management District had said that this isn't going to be a quick rise, that it would be, they were estimating like a foot a year. So do people really need to go pull up their docks now?
So, Lake Brooklyn, we looked at previous data. Years ago, we did a drawdown on Lowry, where they drew Lowry down 4 inches, which is a much larger body of water than Lake Brooklyn. And that drawdown brought Brooklyn up, I think it was almost 9 feet in 12 months. And so we're looking at Alligator Creek. The current flow in Alligator Creek, last time I looked, was over 9 million gallons per day. And you can see the visible rise in Brooklyn almost weekly. And the pipeline's going to add 7.8 million gallons to that. So what you see for rise inclination now is going to be almost double once the pipeline's on. And I believe we can start seeing water from the pipeline before the end of the year.
These are just some significant costs for some of the citizens, and we just don't want them to panic on something where they feel like they've got to shell out tens, not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. So one of the things that they keep in mind is Brooklyn's going to fill up relatively quick because it is already saturated. Geneva's not going to fill up as quick. It is not as saturated. It is coming up, but when you look at the difference for where it's at to where it needs to go, it's a lot higher climb, and it ends up being, if I'm not mistaken, a larger body of water by the time all the loads connect. Back on this map, if you look at if you go from here across, there's a dotted line at the bottom, and it's labeled the lobes of the lake. And so where the forest has grown up and the lobes separate Lake Geneva, that is at 96 feet of elevation. And you're currently at at over 94. So we have less than 2 feet of depth before all of that forest starts to die, and all of that cleanup becomes much more difficult. So Solo, again, we're working with our legislatures from the top down with DEP, and we're working with the Water Management District and some private citizens to try to escalate the time frame because of the situation that you talked about. Most people are saying, oh, we got years before we have to worry about this. No, we don't. I'm telling you, it's coming quicker than it's said, which is our goal. I mean, that's the whole process, but we need to keep our finger on that button and keep this moving along, both for the dock project and of course what we call the Geneva project, getting those. I spoke with the timber company again today. They're putting together some information to hopefully that we can submit to DEP to get that project moving along. I went to the Lake Geneva boat ramp last Friday, and we did shoot elevations at the ramp as well. So if you want to see where the water's going to be at that boat ramp, all those elevations are plotted there. But I am noticing the trees on the landmass that cuts the boat ramp off are starting to die.
Yes.
So that land is starting to submerge. That land was to be harvested as biomass. The timber company has not had to harvest biomass in submerged lands. So that's some of the criteria I'm getting addressed sooner rather than later. So, any questions, comments?
Where does Lake Keystone have to come up before closing?
So Lake Keystone, I believe, I don't have I have them in my folder.
That is the input to Geneva.
That is correct, but Lake Keystone is such a small body of water, it will literally be probably less than 2 weeks from the time it starts coming in to where it starts outflowing down the spillway to come to Geneva.
Mr. Slater, did you tell me that particular keystone isn't monitored because it's such a small lake?
That is correct. There's no live data for Lake Keystone. You can't go look at that anywhere. Somebody physically has to come out with a GPS monitor, plot it, and record that data.
I just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Yeah, there is no live lake level data for that. What would be good is if we could get a depth gauge put in there now to where we do see that data, at least visually, when the lake does respond to that inflow. So might be something we can get the Water Management District to throw in for us for.
So in like reference to what Rich just said and think about the citizens, so I know y'all have the organization, do everything you can to educate the public.
Yep.
We talk about it here. There's stuff on Facebook. A lot of people don't know what to believe, or they don't know what's real, what's not, right? Just like Chris just said, where's the pipeline? It's already running. No, it's not. Right? So the thing is, I'm wondering, would it be appropriate for us on city letterhead to go to those residents that live on those lakes and say, hey, this is really happening. Here's an estimated timeline, and whether you have a dock or not, if you do, you may be looking at what you're going to do here because the water is coming, and you need to be looking at what you're going to do with your dock because it's going to be underwater.
So
would it be appropriate for us to look at as a friendly type of approach to those citizens just so they know it's officially going to happen?
I would say it probably should come from Solo or the
Yes.
Water Management District. I mean,
Really?
the city already gives Solo money every year. Some of that money could be used for that type of project.
I'm just thinking another way to communicate in a more personal way.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what to believe on social media anyway. I mean, I know I don't.
We have meetings
Understand.
for that.
We do, but these people don't come to these
So
meetings.
Solo is currently
Unfortunately.
trying to schedule representatives from DEP and representatives to FWC to give presentations at either our November meeting or our January meeting. And so one of the key points that we want addressed is what a citizen can and can't do on the land that's below the high water mark, because technically it belongs to the state. And then we are trying to pin the Water Management District down to revised estimates for exactly what you're asking. How long is the lake going to take to come up once the water starts to flow in the pipeline? So if we continue to get rains like we are, sooner rather than later.
That's exciting.
My last point, and I've had some citizens and some other folks reach out to me about, will we ever see 106 in Lake Geneva again? You look at Heritage Commission pictures of the 1920s and the water was all the way under the pavilion. Keep in mind that when that pavilion was built in the early 20s, the population of Florida was about 836,000 people. So right now we're approaching 24 million people, which puts a new draw on our lakes, both Brooklyn and Geneva. And so for us to get to those historical levels again, I don't think that's possible because of the draw of water that's required to keep that Florida aquifer flowing. So I don't think 106 is something people need to worry about. So.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
I just share two things.
Okay.
The first is the original bridge across Lake Brooklyn was not that low. It was a good 10 foot taller than the bridge is now across Lake Brooklyn. So Lake Brooklyn used to be historically a lot higher than it's ever going to be right now, the way it looks at it. So I just share that there was some planning by the state authorities that they were going to keep Brooklyn lower than it historically was, because they built that bridge a lot lower than the original bridge. And the second thing is, during our water summit 7-8 years ago, we went on tours up at Camp Landing and all that, and they said that Lake Lowry was a surface area of about 2 square miles. And Lake Brooklyn was roughly 1 square mile. So when you did stuff with Lowry, it had a very big effect on Lake Brooklyn. But Lake Geneva is the surface area is about 4 square miles when the whole thing is full. So it's 4 times the size of Lake Brooklyn. And so it will take longer, but Brooklyn is only going to it's going to be less than a year. It's going to be less than 6 months maybe before Brooklyn's full.
My own, just because I've kept up with lake data and water levels for all these years, I would expect within 6 months if the creek continues to flow because of rainfall like we have, and we talk about the creek flowing and the rate we're at, Lake Lowry, for an instance, got 7 inches of rain when my house on Immokalee Road got 2 inches of rain. And so you take 7 inches of rain on a body of water that's twice the size of the body it's filling, and it's cumulative. So again, if we get these storms and these rains, we will continue to see the creek flowing at a high rate, and then the pipeline increase that rate by almost double. So thank you for that data. So appreciate it. All right.
And your next meeting is tomorrow night.
Our next meeting is tomorrow night. So if you're not up to anything, please come to the church and 7 o'clock, and we'll give you the update, the current Water Management District report, which we'll get tomorrow morning from the Water Management District. And then Save Our Lakes has confirmed our celebration at Camp Immokalee for October the 25th from 3 to 7. All of you city council people will get an invite to that. We're doing fish and chicken dinners by Kiwanis. We have Gatorland ski shows, going to put a ski show on Lake Brooklyn, and we have a 5-piece band that's going to play some good rock and roll and country and a mix of good music. Camp Immokalee is very supportive of this. If you haven't been out to the camp lately, I encourage you to go visit them as well. They've done a lot of improvements at their facility. It's a great place to go. So, all right.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, on to committee reports. Airport Authority?
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. Just a point of information, having been a former 25-year resident of the golf course, one of the things you may keep in mind, Hidden Hills 4 and Hidden Hills 5 subdivisions are both in Bradford County. A lot of those properties fall in Bradford County. I don't know exactly where the Clay County line is, but that's just something else to be aware of as you move forward with that.
Is that along the 9 holes that currently exist?
Yes, that's the old course. Yes, Hidden Hills 4 and 5.
That means we probably need to talk to Bradford County too. Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's not easy.
All right, communications with the Florida State Guard continues, and airport staff will be meeting with the FAA this week to determine some required environmental steps that are going to have to occur before construction actually begins. Mr. Kuhn was just sharing with me that he was on the phone with our engineer and with the FAA this afternoon, and that's moving forward with no issues. Environmental is always an iffy kind of situation depending on what is there. So, but we had a positive meeting with them, so that's moving forward. Airport attorney Jim Taylor, he's completed a draft version of the proposed lease with the Florida State Guard. We've submitted that to them, and they've sent it to their legal for their review. So that's where we are there. The FDOT Aviation and Spaceports Division completed the annual airport inspection today, and we passed with flying colors, pun intended. The inspection is required for us to receive our annual Florida Landing Facility certificate. So credit to our staff. There's a lot of preparation work that has to go in. Just the airfield alone is about 650 acres. It's a lot of mowing. There's a lot of requirements with respect to mowing and setbacks from runways and taxiways and landing lights and taxiway lights. So it's a lot of work, a lot of preparation, and credit to our staff for doing a good job and having a great inspection today. The Goodyear Blimp is coming back to Keystone. They will be here the 13th through the 16th, and they're going to, I think, be here for the Florida Gator home game. So that's always a beautiful sight to see them mooring there at the airport. The airport had 2 military jump operations last month that we supported, so we're always glad to work with our military and have them utilize the airport for missions that they're training for. Any questions?
Do you know if a school group came to Keystone Heights Airport on Friday the 13th? Maybe the Goodyear Blimp would let them go out and check it out?
We can ask.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Yes, ma'am. Oh.
Next is Heritage Commission. Hi, Christine.
Just a short update. We've had 2 changes lately. We have a workshop, our first workshop for the Chautauqua. That's going to be after our next Heritage Commission meeting on the 17th. So it'll be about 11:30 when we finish up. And the 4 County Historical Roundtable had to be rescheduled from the end of this month to November 2nd. And that's it. Do you guys have any questions? No?
No?
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Planning and zoning?
I have a very brief update. Bo Wright has been kind enough to reach out to Miss Janice Fleet to contract her with the city to walk us through the Wiggins property, the 62 units that he put in an application for. So she should be here. Is it the end of this week, Mr. Wright? Thursday. She will be here Thursday, so we'll begin looking at that application and putting together everything, looking at it from the start when it was Duck Road to current.
Oh, okay.
So she's going to get us through that process, but that's all I have. I'll have more on the next meeting, I promise.
Great, thanks. Appreciate it. Council comments? Mr. Kessler?
Just getting excited about the lakes.
Yes.
All I got this time.
I'm very excited. I would like to bring it to the attention, our clerk had a little mishap at work. And I would, she's on workman's comp right now, and she wants to work. And I would like to ask council if they would consider letting Clerk Silva work from home and do her job. As long as she could do her job from home, it doesn't really matter where she sits to do her job.
And with all respect, council needs to hear this is not an ask on my behalf. I just want to work. I just want to work. That's all. How and where it happens is completely up to y'all. So I just need you guys to know that this is, whatever y'all decide, I just want to work my 40 hours.
Anybody have any comments?
I think there's benefits to both being at work and working from home. So I'd be very open to some kind of mix, 3 days a week until she's recovered at home and 2 days of work, something like that. Because I think there's stuff to be gained from her being in the office for some hours during the week. But I also see the benefit of you being at home, working from home, doing just fine. So some mix, I don't know what would work.
Well, she came in tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
For the meeting.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good example right there.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And when she's needed in a meeting to be present, I think that's a good idea. Do you have any comments, Speedy, on that?
As long as the job gets done, that's all.
Right. It really doesn't matter where she sits as long as the work gets done.
And I will do my best, very best left-handed, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay with that?
Yeah, I'm too. I'm good.
Okay. That's all I have.
Do you have any comments?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've all heard, but St. Johns County has the garbage contractor that we're going to get starting October 1st. And St. Johns County just fired that garbage contractor.
That's not
There were,
true.
what's that?
Sorry, that's not true.
Okay, so tell me what's not true.
The St. Johns County Commission and the St. Johns County Attorney did make a motion to terminate the contract based on the breach. Since that time, there's provisions or to take steps towards termination. There are provisions within that contract that allow a cure period, and as of 2 weeks ago, they've been at 100%. So there's ongoing discussion and negotiation between FCC Environmental and the county.
Okay, so I qualify my statement. They are very unhappy with their garbage company. They've had many, many, many complaints, and they tried to breach a contract and fire them. They've not succeeded just yet. October 1st, I don't know if you've read some of the stuff, but our garbage
Facebook,
contract is going to greatly change. And I would warn our city manager, you need to have a front desk phone person ready to accept complaints, because they're going to come. And I'm not sure what we can do, if anything, but I just kind of want to say there's a little storm coming. Let's be ready for it.
The best thing you can do, having lived through this, is make sure that you know who the point of contact is at the county. They take that data and they can live, as you're sitting in front of your computer, tell you where every truck is, where every driver is. They can tell you which routes have been missed. So for reasons that St. Johns County can't explain, there are times where an entire route was missed. There were times where 2 houses on the route in the middle of other houses were missed. But that data is so important for the county to be able to make sure that FCC goes back and fixes some of the problems, presuming you're having that problem. Now, there are a lot of differences that I've been in communication with the Clay County attorney, that they are working to get ahead of some of the problems that St. Johns County was exposed to.
So for example, if you put an extra bag out by your garbage can, $4.
Yeah, we all got the garbage cans with all the
Right.
directions on it.
Yep. And a lot of people, I hope everybody reads it. All right, then, Tony at a previous meeting brought up sale of excess city property. And we haven't done anything with that. Is that because we don't have any interest in selling any property? Is that because we just dropped the ball? What
I
is?
thought you brought that up, Dan.
No, Tony brought that up.
Oh,
No.
that was a long time ago.
It was, yeah, several meetings ago, and we just haven't done anything with it. And I'll add a strategic planning workshop, a parks workshop, a Christmas market workshop. We've talked about those 3 things.
Yes,
And
we did have a Christmas
and-
market workshop. And you were going to come back with your plan, specific specs on the building that you were
no, we
talking
never had the
about.
Christmas market workshop. No, we never did.
That was July
Instead-
16th.
That was 5 workshops ago. We still need another workshop.
I'm not saying we don't need another one, I'm just saying we did have one in July.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't.
Well, you got to go back to the video. We did. Because that was.
I probably made a presentation about one, but that was not the workshop. That was a regular council meeting. But anyway, no, we were supposed to have it at the end of May, but that got preempted with a other workshop of some kind. But then that was canceled because it was decided we were going to do a workshop on personnel or something like that.
I'm
Yes,
so
yes.
sorry, but unfortunately it's my job, and July 16th was the Christmas workshop, and it's listed on the website as such. I'm so sorry to have to, even the agenda says Christmas workshop. I'm so sorry.
And that's where you brought the specs of what your guy that you know could build, and you shared that with us, and what it was going to look like, the size, and some of the details.
I do.
What?
And I remember that.
Yeah.
And you.
We haven't done anything though since. We've not a thing.
No, there is, yeah, we needed to follow up on it, you're right. That's the last thing was done on it. And I don't disagree, we need to do more on it.
Yes, and the vice mayor last meeting asked for a workshop on personnel descriptions.
Yes, we need to schedule that too.
And if I'm not correct, and I apologize again for interrupting, I believe you guys stated you wanted that workshop to be after the budget was.
Right.
Thank you. After the budget was,
After
okay.
October.
I just wanted to make sure I was correct. Thank you.
Okay. I'm just, want to keep things moving along here.
Absolutely.
Because now we're adding the golf course to it. And
Well,
we got
that's-
lots to do.
Yes, we do.
Well,
I
that's
agree.
where your strategic plan would be a good time to prioritize those orders.
Yes.
Especially as major things are being discussed.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and I have actually put together a pretty exhaustive strategic plan already that's tagged all the things you just talked about that needs to come together for one workshop that we can sit, and I haven't got the golf course on there because that was something we're going to talk about next year, can be added, but it's on where we are as of today with all the work that's already been done, the parks plan, the city hall, all the different things we've talked about, including the Christmas retail, and that's something that I'd love to share. We just need to say, okay, what's the date? And I can update that, and we can take that to the next level. So it's just a starting point to talk about the strategic plan. So I have worked on something that I think will be helpful, and I think that each one of us need to take one of those tabs on each one of those subjects and go from what's already been done to what the rest of the story looks like, instead of us all working on all 5 projects to try to figure out where we're going to go. I think it'd be a lot more productive. But yeah, I mean, we can plan workshops, we can have 2 a month if we need to do that to get caught up. I don't disagree with you at all, Dan. I totally agree. We're at a point now where we have staffing, which we didn't have, we've done a lot already this year compared to where we started. And I think it's time to check some of those boxes. So I'm all in favor of that.
Great. Thank you.
Anybody else have any more comments? Good. I don't have any other comments. So Ms. Silva, do you?
I just, after we got, I can work now. From October 13th to 17th, I will be going to Orlando to the FKCC Fall Academy. That will earn me an additional 32 CEHs towards my CMC, Hertz Municipal Certification. So I will be doing that week. Thank goodness they didn't tell me I couldn't. So I just wanted to make you guys aware from the 13th to the 17th, I will be available by phone only after the conference ends. But I will be checking emails and such and getting my work done as usual.
Okay. Thank you. Charlie?
So I just want to make sure I capture our upcoming workshops, and I'll have somebody call each of you and pull your calendar out and figure out what days you can and can't have workshops. So do I understand we need a workshop on the Christmas Village, a workshop on strategic planning, a workshop on a workable parks plan? Did I miss one?
Yes, the personnel descriptions.
Correct.
Manager and secretary.
And the personnel descriptions ought to come before December because we're going to be doing y'all's PAs. We want to marry that up to the performance evaluations.
So do you?
Your strategic plan should come first.
Plan should be first.
Right.
Well, we can, yeah.
So on the personnel descriptions, do you 5 want the current 2 job descriptions that her and I applied for and are
I
kind
have
of working
copies of
under?
each one of them.
Or do you want us to sort that stuff out and make a recommendation to you as to what they should look like without overlaps?
Yeah, I mean, I have
Second.
copies that we used last year.
Right.
Should be the same
Well,
copy.
I think we should have a workshop and just go line by line through them.
We could do
That
that.
would be my suggestion.
Okay, let me ask the question a different way. What do you need from me, or maybe you don't need anything other than a date for the workshop?
Just a date for me. 'Cause
Okay.
I have copies of the PDs.
Okay?
Bo, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm freezing. I'm really cold. Sorry, thank you.
So that's all I've got, I believe.
Can I interrupt you for 2
Sure.
seconds? I apologize, I completely forgot until just now. The Florida League of Cities dinner is coming up on the 19th. Are you guys available, and will you be bringing another individual with you if you want to come?
Where is it?
That is in Palatka. And I believe it's at their golf course.
Yes, I've been there. I'm going. Just me.
And I apologize for asking tonight, but I have until Thursday to report to FLC.
Don't we have a budget and finance meeting scheduled that night? As another
16th,
backup?
I thought.
16th, yes, sir. you're
So the
correct.
16th is, all that you'll have in front of you is 2 ordinances, one on the budget, one on the millage to adopt the budget. That ad's going in the paper. I had put September 19th on that list of, if somebody comes in here and it all goes sideways and you don't adopt it, then you got to come back on the 19th and figure it out. That was the backup date. Thank you.
Okay.
You should be done with it
So
on the
all those
16th
poorly on the
unless
16th,
anybody
we can come back.
significantly changes what we've already discussed.
What time is it on the 19th?
So they- Yeah, no, didn't they move it to 6:30 now?
It's 5:30.
I thought they'd be.
Five-
well, I'm sorry.
Generally at 5:30.
There's going to be the CRA, because they
At
have to approve the
5:30.
CRA budget at 5:30, and the actual public hearings for the millage and budget will be at 6.
I'm sorry, I was talking about the League of,
FLC.
FLC, the Florida League of Cities
That's what I
dinner.
was talking about too.
That's okay. I believe they've started those now at 6:30 now.
Oh, I thought it was 5:30.
5:30.
I thought
So-
we moved the hour back. Let me double check.
So 5:30 is the attitude adjustment
Yes,
hour,
5:30 is the
Yes, they
attitude
started a
adjustment.
little bit
I know
earlier.
Rick's there.
and 6:30 is dinner.
Yes.
So Rich, back to your timing of what you just said is for which meeting?
The 16th, a week from today.
Right, and what time that start? 5:30?
We have to have a 5:30 CRA, and you'll, as the CRA, will approve that budget, and then that budget, however it gets approved, becomes part of the council's whole budget, which you approve after you approve the millage.
Gotcha. Okay. Should make sure I have the right time. Okay, got it. All right.
And if you guys don't know tonight, if you could please email me tomorrow if you would be available for that night. Not a problem, Councilman Fletcher? Not a problem.
Busy, busy, busy.
Mr. Rich, any comments?
Nothing else. I think I've talked enough tonight.
All right, meeting's adjourned. 7:23. Thanks, everyone.